Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the majority of the entire population really want nothing to do with Jada Pinkett Smith having roles in Hollywood or getting the opportunity to go on all these different radio shows and podcasts, voicing her opinion, really trying to lie her way through the entire drama that's been happening between herself, Will Smith, Chris Rock, etc. And let's not forget about the fact that she has been really pointing fingers at many Hollywood studios and even NBC that actually want nothing to do with her ever again in the future, and how NBC mocked her through the use of SNL. Let's get into the actual details here. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, the thing about Jada Pinkett Smith, and I know I've said this many times before, is that she is a narcissist, she is a liar, she is someone that has no care in the world about the ramifications and or consequences that she creates with the words that she actually spews out there. Now, the problem with this is that in the latest, she actually does point fingers at a lot of people in, of course, the general public, the studios that want nothing to do with Jada Pinkett Smith anymore, and even NBC that used SNL as a platform and as a vessel, if you will, to kind of call out and mock the whole Jada Pinkett Smith situation about her book called Worthy that is unraveling all these different revelations. But let's get into the specifics, because we know that Jada Pinkett Smith is someone that is just so out of touch with reality, she has no idea what she's talking about, and it only gets worse. So with Jada Pinkett Smith currently over-promoting her new book called Worthy, one major development has to do with Jada Pinkett Smith's recent reaction to the ongoing backlash since her book hit store shelves along with SNL, mocking her and firing her from studios. Now, Pinkett Smith went on to deliver the following. I think it's important for me to make it publicly known to everyone that I have been absolutely disgusted with how the public has been treating me and studios out there, like NBC, for doing what they did with SNL, mocking not just myself, but my husband, and taking full advantage of the situation that just needs to fizzle out already. Having known some of the producers of NBC, I think it's best for me to no longer stay in communication with them, and for myself to part ways from such toxicity. I truly believe people are being extremely unfair to my efforts, with the publication of my book trying to fix people's lives that may be dealing with a similar situation to myself, and a way to empower women across the world. Anyone who tries to mock that or is opposed to that, I feel, is exactly what is flawed, especially in this country. People that are not necessarily involved in show business or in Hollywood, I think, would benefit from my book and to understand the truth from my perspective of the things that happened, and how after reading my piece, I think you will understand how wrong it is for studios like NBC to be taking advantage of my life and my life situation and the mistakes that I have made and or decisions that I felt were right in my life. Now guys, let me just stop here quick before I get to the next big part that she goes on to elaborate. She's not only playing the victim card again for the upteenth time, but she's also really kind of trying to upsell her book for the upteenth time. And she always uses these circumstances where you have studios and or backlash from the general public to kind of use that as some kind of backup to self-promote her book. And this book called Worthy, which, by the way, I've said this many times, the title alone is cringy and off-putting and unattractive. You want to put a book out there, give it any other name, I think it would have done a little bit better. Maybe not successfully, but I think it would have done at least a little bit better by renaming your book. Now, the fact that she is calling out NBC and SNL and how it's wrong for them to create a parody of Jada Pinkett Smith and her whole situation by unraveling all these revelations, it goes to show you that she does not take any of the blame for her own actions. She must have saw this coming. You know, for someone that had no clue that SNL would pick on her for doing this is just crazy. It's ludicrous. You know, I think at the end of the day, she's the only person to blame. You know, you can't point fingers at anybody else except for yourself. You're the one who wrote this book, Worthy. You're the one that actually moved forward with writing this thing. And by the way about that, guys, a lot of celebrities, a lot of high-status individuals in the Hollywood bubble or just in general, typically they don't write their own book. I'm not saying everyone, but on average, a lot of these celebs, they don't write their own book. They hire a ghostwriter from a ghostwriting agency, and they handle the end of it. You know, they hear her story, and they actually translate that into a book. They do all the writing. I would have no doubt in my mind if Jada Pinkett Smith did not put one finger on a keyboard to write this thing up, and that it was all done by a ghostwriter. But that's just, you know, an assumption. That's not a fact. I'm just saying most celebrities do that. Now, the thing about this further, she goes on to elaborate again, alright? I know both Will and Chris are trying to just move on, and to have those like NBC shaking things up for me and my family was absolutely rude. That is something I felt was immature in all areas. I think my family deserves an apology from NBC and from the showrunner of SNL. I think that would be their best option, but we all know that they aren't going to do that. For now, my life's focus is to produce more books for the world to enjoy for the years to come. I think that's my life purpose right now, to share my revelations with the world about myself and Will, and to really just lay out the truth. I do have more revelations to share that I think will be important to my loyal followers, and to those that may be unfamiliar with our life struggles that have been out of the public eye. That should be a main focus right now from my family and from the public's view, to understand myself better in ways unlike before. I also think it was terribly unfair for certain studios having differing opinions about myself that led to cancellations and or called off discussions and plans that were wrongfully applied here. Now, again, guys, we have Jada Pinkett Smith calling out the public, SNL/NBC, the studios that fired her, and the fact that it's gotten so severe to the point that even Netflix behind closed doors want nothing to do with her for other projects, and even potentially a Cleopatra follow-up, that just screams the fact that she is so universally rejected at this point, not just by the public, but also by studios. Now, Netflix has not made their full decision just yet. They're kind of fence riding. They're on the fence about making that call of ridding her from a Cleopatra follow-up or any other project associated with Netflix for future narration work. So that's another thing that's being discussed right now between the Netflix heads. But the thing about this is that she is constantly playing the victim card. It's getting very old, the fact that she keeps on talking about this drama and using the book called Worthy as a way to kind of use that as fuel to the fire. That's what she's doing, basically, is that she is using this as fuel for the fire here for everything that happened back in 2022. But overall, I would like to hear your overall opinion on this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.